House Democrats will continue to fight to address the health care crisis that Republicans have created. And House Democrats will continue to fight to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits for tens of millions of Americans. This fight is not over. We're just getting started. We'll fight today. We'll fight tomorrow. We'll fight this week. We'll fight next week. We'll fight this month. We'll fight next month. We'll fight until we win this battle for the American people.
It's over. What are you talking about? You fought, you extended and tortured the country. They paid a huge price, 1.4 million people not getting paid. That's not enough for you. And then after losing, you're going to say you haven't given up? Give up and come up with an idea. Don't just say I'm going to fight. Fight what? With what? Come up with ideas that are better and win an election. You did very well last Tuesday. Maybe it's because people perceive that Republicans were more responsible, which any clear-thinking person knows they weren't. They're looking to renew on Biden-level spending until they can work out all the appropriations bills. So they shut down the government, and they blamed healthcare. It's just astounding that that's his speech. Morgan Murphy is running for Senate in Alabama. He's served in the military. He also worked did a lot of work with President Trump. He enters a crowded Republican field for that spot, but man, does he have great qualification. Morgan, welcome.
Brian, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me on.
Morgan, you sure you want part of that chaos? I mean, wasn't that embarrassing?
Man, it is. It's a mess. You know, it's a food fight every day in Congress. But to hear some of these people talk about fighting, they've never been in a real fight. And they don't know what that is. And it's just pitiful what the Democrats did to this country for the past 40 days. We were on track. Our GDP was hitting 3.8% under President Trump. That is the first real growth since he was last in office. We were pulling out of this Biden economy, and the Democrats tried to drive us right back into a ditch.
So you worked for President Trump through the previous administration, also mostly served at the White House as head of public diplomacy for the president, also special envoy to Ukraine and Russia. And you served at war in Iraq and Afghanistan?
Just Afghanistan. They sent me, I'm a 26-year Navy veteran, captain in the Navy, and they sent me to a landlocked country. So that's government irony for you. So
your thoughts about this version of President Trump as opposed to 45?
Well, what I can say is experience matters. And you can see Trump was great as our 45th president, but look at what he's doing this time around. He knows the swamp. He knows where the creatures are. He knows who to trust. And more importantly, he knows who not to trust. And he's been so much more effective this time around because he's assembled people with him that won't betray him. I saw the betrayal firsthand in Trump 45. I saw, cabinet members even, people who should be the most loyal to the president. He gave them their jobs, absolutely try to throw him under the bus. And this time around, can you imagine a cabinet member now getting out in front of the president? Not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they really seem to connect with each other as well as the president. So they seem like a pretty tight unit. Let's talk about what you know about Ukraine right now. Do you think the president should give him tomahawks?
I think the pressure point on Ukraine is oil. Russia is an oil and gas. They're a big gas station, right, with nuclear weapons. And so the interesting thing I think that's being discussed is the shadow fleet. Biden never did really put pressure on Russia's oil. He didn't want to drive up. Oil's a global commodity. He didn't want to drive up the price of oil at the pump and risk his election future by making Americans pay $5 for gasoline at the pump. But this President Trump, has restored relations with Saudi Arabia. We're pumping an additional million barrels of oil a day in the United States since he took office. It's incredible. So we've got more flexibility to really be punitive with Putin on the oil front. And that's, I think, where the real pressure will be.
Right. So let them destroy Putin's energy sector.
Yeah, you take the money out of his war machine, and he's got real problems. Can you imagine every combatant command in the United States focused like, EUCOM, SOUTHCOM, SOCOM, all of them? The president says seize Quebec, and they couldn't do it. I mean, that's incredible. I think it's an embarrassment that Putin's army hasn't been able to get to Kyiv. Biden was talking about, oh no, he might go all the way to Berlin. He couldn't get to Kyiv. He couldn't get to Warsaw. He's not getting to Berlin.
But Morgan,
So,
doesn't it also show you, and you're a captain of the army, I should call you captain, but shouldn't I also tell Navy, sure, sorry. Does it also tell you our intelligence was bad? Because our intelligence, CIA did say it was going to fall in 3 days.
oh yeah, no, our intelligence is rotten. I was in the United States Senate in the most super secret, spooky squirrel kind of, briefing, and they came and they told us, well, Afghanistan's going to be fine for 9 months. We saw how that worked out. And then they came and they told us, well, Kyiv is going to be gone in 3 days. We need to get, we need to get Zelensky out of there. The intelligence briefings that we've got a huge problem in our intelligence community and how they give our elected leaders information. And that's why, to me, it's so important that we send someone with experience to Washington who knows what to believe, when to believe it, and when not to believe it.
So basically, you're going to run for the Senate. Tommy Tuberville is moving over. He's going to run to be governor.
That's right.
So do you think you have the president's endorsement?
I'm going to earn the president's endorsement. I'm going to earn coach's endorsement. When I got in the race, I worked for Tommy Tuberville. We call him Coach. Everyone who works for him calls him Coach. He looked at me and said, well, Morgan, you're going to have to earn it like any coach would. And he wants to see grassroots support here. I got 90 veterans from all 67 counties this week endorsed me. I'm really proud of that endorsement. A lot of former Trump officials, from Sean Spicer, the former Secretary of Defense, K.T. McFarland. Very proud of those endorsements. But what really matters is the voters in Alabama, and that's what the president's going to be looking at is, what do they want? He's not a top-down guy. He wants to hear from the base, and the base is ultimately going to make the decision here.
How do you feel our Pentagon is functioning now? How do you feel like Langley is functioning now, CIA? I know Radcliffe could be the right guy, but he can't do everything. First off, with the CIA, how do you think it's functioning?
Well, I think it's getting better. And I met with him several months back, and he's an extraordinarily impressive person, and he's got a grip on what needs to be done there. And that's first, is to understand the process. And to the Department of War, I mean, thank goodness for Pete Hegseth. Our Navy, when I joined the Navy, Brian, in 1999, we were the world's biggest fleet. No one could mess with us. Russia was rusty. They couldn't get their ships out of port. The Chinese were basically a fishing fleet. Today, we're number 2 in the world. China built 900 ships last year. The United States built 7. This is a national security emergency. When I'm in the Senate, I'm going to be jumping up and down on top of my desk talking about this because America has to get back to building things. Pete Hegseth directly talked about this last week, saying procurement, fancy way of saying buying things, in the Pentagon is broken, and it is broken. Every weapon system we have, from the big ones to the small ones, every weapon system is behind schedule and over budget, and he's working to fix that, thank goodness.
So what do you think is going to happen in Venezuela?
Well, we've sent the big stick down there. We've sent the Gerald R. Ford down there. And let me tell you, as a Navy guy, when you send a carrier strike group off some dirtbag's backyard, it tends to get their attention. 4 sovereign acres of U.S. territory is now floating off the coast of Venezuela with more firepower than most European countries. So it definitely has their attention. The president's been clear. And Donald J. Trump is not somebody you want to mess around with when he issues an order.
Do you worry about so many assets in our hemisphere as opposed to Pacific, where China continues to be a threat?
It's about time we have assets in our hemisphere. We don't have, other than Gitmo in Cuba, we don't really have a base in the southern hemisphere, and that's our hemisphere. I'm a big fan of the Monroe Doctrine. I love that President Trump is taking care of our own backyard. It's America first, and in this case, it's the Americas first. China is certainly an enormous threat, but we have to take care of our own backyard first before we start with Taiwan and Cuba and Korea and others.
What do you think the most important thing to focus on in Alabama is?
Well, in Alabama, what we need is jobs. And Alabama has been leading the way. We're one of 6 states in the nation where manufacturing is the largest employer. The other 40 some odd states, healthcare is the largest employer. Manufacturing jobs pay well, They produce things. They add to our national security. You can't convert a YouTuber into a welder very easily in time of war. In World War II, we converted Cadillac-made tanks, and Packard-made planes, and Ford-made planes, and Singer sewing machine made Colt 45s. And that's an urgent matter of national security that as Americans, we build things. And here in Alabama, we're building things. We're building Mercedes, ThyssenKrupp, Boeing, Honda, Hyundai, Airbus, and the list goes on and on. I'm really proud of that. I want to see the rest of the country adopt that model so that when you go to Walmart or Amazon, you click on something, it doesn't say those dreaded 3 words, made in China.
Right. Morgan Murphy, he's running for Senate in Alabama. He's got a lengthy resume. It's going to be a crowded field because the sense is you win the primary, you're going to win the general. Morgan, thanks so much. Best of luck.
Hey, great to be with you, Brian. Thank you.